Hello and welcome. I am Katrina Pratt Roebuck, and I'm the founder and CEO of Uplifme. And Uplifme is a national resource hub sharing information on resources and events that address the social determinants of health. It is also a platform in which we showcase the wonderful work happening around Philadelphia. So today I have with me Kelly Woodland, who is the Executive Director of the Center for Leadership Equity at the United Way of Greater Philadelphia and Southern New Jersey, as well as the convener of the Black Nonprofit Chief Executives of Philadelphia, also known as the BNCEP. So, Kelly, welcome and thank you so much for being here.
Good. Thanks for bringing me on.
Absolutely. So, Kelly, can you start by telling us a little bit about your role at the United Way?
Yeah, well, about 3 years ago, I came to the United Way to build and incubate the Center for Leadership Equity, which was really created and designed to support Black nonprofit leaders in a variety of different ways. First, provide them with leadership enhancement resources, wellness, and essentially anything that they felt they needed to be more effective so that their organizations can be more impactful. So
Mhm,
that is what the Center for Leadership Equity is aiming to do. And
mhm.
I've been building that for, I guess, the last 3 years. We were formally launched in about a year ago,
Okay.
and we've been piloting programming maybe for about 2.5 years. And
Okay.
I'd be remiss without mentioning that Falashade Dunbar is my colleague who has helped me design and develop the programming to support Black nonprofit leaders. And we focus on Black nonprofit leaders primarily because those individuals tend to be most proximate to the work and the people, and they're the group that has been most impacted
Mhm,
by inequitable funding and resources. So when you focus on the group that's been really most impacted or harmed, and you
mhm.
support them, you have an opportunity to impact the broader sector. And that's what's referred to as targeted universalism.
Interesting. Okay, for folks who may not know what that means, can you explain what targeted universalism means?
Yeah, targeted universalism is really focusing resources and programs and opportunities on a group that's been most impacted or harmed in an
Mhm,
effort to create an equitable playing field.
mhm,
And by doing so, you end up impacting the broader sector. I think one of the examples that I use is from what I can tell, we initiated the first overnight wellness retreat for Black nonprofit leaders. We started to prioritize wellness because we realized how important it was for leaders to be well so that they can be effective leaders. And we did that. We incorporate wellness as part of a leadership development and professional development menu. And
mhm,
what we started to see was that the broader sector, the philanthropic community as well, started to support wellness, started to take a different perspective on wellness, not just on Black nonprofit leaders, but for the broader sector.
mhm,
Another example of targeted universalism is oftentimes used as the curb cutting. You know how curbs
mhm,
have the slope, and that was originally designed to support those that were in wheelchairs or disabled, but it's something that ends up being helpful to women and parents who are pushing their children in strollers, or if you're
mhm.
bike riding and you want to get up on a curb. So it's something that was focused on one particular group, but the resource and the opportunity ends up being impactful and helpful to the broader community.
So I think that what you mentioned a little earlier about the menu of services is really interesting. Can you talk a little bit about what that menu of services is for nonprofit professionals? You talked about the wellness piece, but can you talk a little bit more about what services you all provide?
Sure. The one thing about the center that we feel very proud about is that it is responsive versus
Mhm,
prescriptive. And
mhm,
that's important because typically leadership development or professional development, as many folks refer to it, has
mhm.
been delivered based upon what a funder or what some entity says leaders
Yeah,
need. What
right.
we do is we listen very closely
Mm,
to Black nonprofit leaders and really try to create and deliver what they say they need.
Mhm,
And what we've heard over the last couple years is they appreciate wellness and supporting their mental health. They want executive coaching and
mhm,
mentorship.
mhm,
They want frequent touch points to come together to support each other, learn from each other,
mhm,
um, recognize the social capital among each other. We often talk about how important it is for nonprofit leaders to meet funders and meet
mhm,
decision makers. And that's true. But
mhm,
oftentimes, nonprofit leaders need to know the people in their space. There are certain prominent individuals who are really doing some great things. We're all doing some very important, good things, but there are some individuals that typically nonprofit leaders don't have access to. So we
mhm,
really want to promote the social capital among each other. So those are the things that leaders say they wanted: wellness, executive coaching, mentorship, touch points to come together and support each other, opportunities to hear from thought leaders and experts, having an opportunity to have roundtable discussions where they lead the discussions or provide the expertise or share their expertise, and where they can learn from each other and really unpack important things that may be of concern to them and the broader nonprofit sector. So those are the things that the center aims to provide. But I'll be honest with you, oftentimes, leaders may say, we want X, and then we figure out how to provide that. The last 8 months have been very, very difficult and challenging for the broader sector. So, what we've tried to do is to connect with our resources and individuals and organizations that are providing a lot of support during this time. So, we connected with Bridgespan
mhm,
to provide our leaders with scenario planning.
mm,
Be connected with an attorney and a DEI expert to provide a presentation on how do you stay mission aligned and respond to these executive orders that were coming down. Um, we did a session on education-oriented executive orders. We did a roundtable on marketing, um,
mhm.
fiscal sponsorship, and these were things that we felt were especially important because our members said, "This is what we need to know."
Right.
So, we like convening leaders, but we want to convene leaders for a purpose. We convene leaders to support each other, but we convene leaders to expose them to expert information that's being delivered by other leaders.
And so I think that what you have been able to develop along with the other co-founders of the BNCEP is something that is really innovative in that you are creating a peer model for folks to learn from each other and being responsive to whatever is relevant at the time. And I think that's so important. I think the other thing I'm hearing you say is that it's really a community and it's a community of support for each other. So I really appreciate the thoughtfulness within which you've designed the program and really being flexible so that you can be responsive to folks. Can you talk a little bit about how many organizations are a part of the BNCP? Are they all local to Philadelphia? And sort of like, who are these human services organizations? Who do they
Yeah.
serve?
Yeah. So just to back up and kind of contextualize things a little bit more, in June, I guess it was June 26th, 2020, in the aftermath of the murder of George Floyd and the backdrop
Mhm,
of COVID,
mhm,
myself, Keisha Jordan, and Renee Hughes decided to bring uh, Black nonprofit leaders together to really unpack what was going on and really support each other. Because I often say that Black nonprofit leaders experience things both personally and professionally.
mhm,
The lines are blurred because
mhm.
everything that we're doing, we oftentimes have an intimate experience in our journey, which brings us to why we do what we do.
Right,
So
right.
BNCP was technically founded on June 26th, where there are 24 people who were on the first virtual call.
Okay.
And we decided to meet monthly, and it was virtually. And we started off with 24, and then I think in July we may have had about 30, and it just kept growing incrementally.
Mhm.
And one of the things that we realize is that we enjoy coming together. We really enjoyed looking at that Zoom page and seeing nothing but black faces on there because this was a time when everyone was doing everything virtually, and
Right. Right.
the contact and the connectivity was limited. So
Right.
once a month we were coming together for that. But one of the things that I realized as a result of coming together virtually, I started hearing some things about what folks wanted, what they needed, what their
Mhm.
concerns were. And I was taking note of all of these things. And we were meeting virtually for about 2 years.
Mm.
And maybe after about maybe about a year and a half, I conceived of the Center for Leadership Equity and kind of framed it out. And ironically, I was on a Zoom call with I think it was Keisha Jordan and Lori Jones and some other people, and I kind of shared with them what I was thinking about. And I'm not
Mhm.
sure they really understood at the time because I probably wasn't as clear in
Mhm.
articulating what this was.
Mhm.
But I started to refine the model. And when I
Mhm.
refined it, to several different issue areas and priorities, I pitched it to the United Way, and the United Way thought it was interesting enough to incubate it.
Mhm.
So that's really incubate the Center for Leadership Equity. So the reason why I give that kind of broad context is it was important to create a community of leaders, and
Mhm.
that's what BNCP was and is.
Mhm.
But the center, as I mentioned, is responsive to this community of leaders.
Mhm.
And that's important because these leaders are very critical to the social infrastructure in this city and this region. And to be a member of BNCP, you have to simply just be in the nonprofit sector
Mhm.
and be interested in the sustainability and leadership of Black nonprofit leaders. So we have CEOs and executive directors, we
Mhm.
have funders, we have emerging leaders, we have C-suite individuals, and we also have those that consider themselves capacity builders.
Okay.
And there's no membership fee because we believe in a responsive membership fee. So it's what you contribute to the growth and sustainability of the organization. Maybe you host a meeting, maybe you host roundtables meetings, maybe you help lift up the work we're doing, through social media. We Most of the members are in Philadelphia, but we do have several that are outside of Philadelphia. So we're not an exclusive type of organization, but the interesting thing, similar to how it started, we don't market.
Mhm.
So it's really a friend telling a friend. And the
Right.
reason why is because we feel that people show up very authentically
Mhm.
if we're not appealing to them to join. So we're not exclusive. We are welcoming, but I'm not going to come and say, "Hey, Katrina, you got to join this group." And because if I do that, then that immediately puts you in a position where you have to, decide, why is he,
Mhm.
trying to sell me this opportunity? We feel we have something unique. We feel we have something special. And the way the organization grows is through informal sponsorship, a friend recommending a friend. And that friend, that colleague, oftentimes recommends an individual who is looking for the type of community that BNCP is. And I can honestly say, every time we're together, it's like a reunion.
Mhm.
Folks aren't focusing on titles. They're not
Mhm.
focusing on, how much they make or what you can do for me, or
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
really not like that. And it's very organic. And I attribute that primarily to the people who are members of the organization. The people make the party.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the people who are the members are those that help to create the culture. So the Center for Leadership Equity out of the United Way is responsive to this community of leaders, which is BNCP. And the important thing that I just want to lift up is while the center provides a lot of the leadership enhancement resources.
Mhm,
It is cultivating, managing, and supporting this community of leaders. That
mhm,
is one of the key enhancements to what people consider professional development. If we just provide the
mhm,
professional development resources alone, that
mhm.
isn't what's going to create well-rounded leaders. What creates well-rounded leaders is growing in community with other leaders and being supported by other leaders as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that to the point you're making, it is an authentic space. And I
Mm,
think folks sometimes find themselves lonely in leadership. But this particular
right.
group with the authentic space and community, folks can benefit greatly from that. And so I just want to just lift that piece of it
Appreciate
up
that.
as I've been
Yeah.
to some of the events and can attest to
You're a
that
member.
being the experience. Yes, I am,
Yeah.
thankfully. So can you talk a little bit perhaps about something that you're looking forward to accomplishing in the next year?
Well, I'm looking for the Center for Leadership Equity to continue to be responsive to
Mhm,
the needs of nonprofit leaders. I'm looking for the center to take what it has learned from
mhm.
its 2+ years of providing leadership enhancement and really growing.
Yeah.
One of the things that I see that we've built is a capacity building infrastructure. For the
Mm,
last 2 years, we have learned how to deliver, develop uh, capacity building, and an
mhm,
infrastructure has been built. What we want to do next is offer what I would consider a CEO boot camp. All right.
okay.
And that's going to be specifically for CEOs. It won't be specifically for Black-led CEOs, but we will prioritize those individuals who've been most impacted. And the one thing is that when you center Blackness, it doesn't mean that you exclude anyone else.
Mhm,
We are taking our learnings and we're using those learnings to shape and influence the programming. But the CEO boot camp, what I see in the future will be for new CEOs or executive directors. It'll
mhm,
be for those veteran
mm,
CEOs and EDs who need their skills and perspectives refreshed.
mm,
And it will also be for those leaders who are new to Philadelphia and new to this
mm,
area, because I'm a lifelong Philadelphian,
mhm,
and Philly is a tough city to crack, and it's a
mm,
tough city to understand and connect with.
mhm,
Philadelphians are very supportive,
mhm,
but it takes a little while to get to know the city.
mhm,
So we're also looking at that population as well. So we'd like to do a CEO boot camp. We'd like to offer a conference for
mm,
nonprofit leaders, and
okay.
those are things that we're looking for in the late winter, um, maybe well, late fall, early winter time.
Okay. I think that again, speaking to the innovation, I have not heard of anyone thinking about how to invite folks that are from outside of Philadelphia into the Philadelphia community. And I think what you're saying is absolutely true. I hear that all the time from my friends that are from different places that Philly is a bit hard to sort of
Yeah.
mesh yourself into. So I think that that's really important. And I also heard you speak about new CEOs and then veteran CEOs.
Right.
And so how to support them differently. And I haven't seen leadership programs sort of speak to that specifically.
Yeah.
So again, a testament of the innovation and being responsive to the needs
Mm.
of the community. Can you talk a little bit about, I'm curious to know how folks can support this work that is happening. How can folks donate and or volunteer with the BNCEP?
Sure, sure. And like I said, the relationship between BNCP and the center is really symbiotic.
Okay.
So if they'd like to make a donation, they can feel free to make a donation to the United Way of Greater Philadelphia and Southern New Jersey, and you can earmark Center for Leadership Equity.
Okay.
If you'd like to volunteer and be a capacity builder, um, just contact myself and Falashade, and we do monthly virtual open houses for BNCP.
Okay.
So if anyone is interested in doing that, and we'll resume in September.
Okay.
There's going to be an in-person open house in September, and then virtual open houses each month throughout the year. And that's how folks can get involved.
Okay, and so I will put that information in the show notes of this video as well so that people know
Sure.
exactly how to contribute and how to connect with you. I just want to say thank you. This is so important, the work that you all are doing. And I
Thank
think that to speak to helping the leaders who are then the ripple effect, right? Helping thousands and thousands of people in need across the city. So thank you, Kelly. Thank you for
you.
creating and of course Falashade and the co-founders for creating this space for Black nonprofit professionals.
Thank you very much, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share and lift up this work.
Thank you, Kelly.
All
Take
right. Bye.